we have a play-in competition. 4 teams: Madrid, Paris, Bayern, Red Star. We have to put our predictions on paper. 2 teams that will make it to the playoffs.
Let's do
this now.
Oh, we did it already. Okay. Stop with that. Thing is, Donatas, you were talking about excitement, and you know why it's lacking, in my opinion?
Why?
Because the play-ins could have been much more interesting. Remember the ones I was thinking about with both Serbian teams clashing in the play-in? We didn't get that. We got instead some matchups. I don't see like a storyline behind it. So that's what I don't like about it.
I mean, there are more stories than just a rivalry. Augustus, please, calm down. There are more stories than just those traditional rivalries. So let's create new rivalries and new stories during this play-in. But first of all, gentlemen, we can all raise our paper sheets with the predictions. And what do we have?
We have mine and Augustus matching.
Okay.
And you're the outlier with Zvezda there.
Yeah. Okay, that's nice. That's nice. So
now we need to somehow unpack it because...
Yeah, we need to unpack it, and let's start with Donatas.
Let's start with one thing. Real Madrid is... We all think that Real Madrid will win the game against Paris.
Yeah.
Why we are sure about Madrid getting into the playoffs from the first game?
We're not sure. Because it's one game, and in one game anything can happen, especially with a team like Paris, who can just go off with Hifi's 30 points and TJ Short's 15 assists and 30 points as well. But what we've seen recently from Real Madrid, I think I predicted all the wins in the remaining 4 or 5 games. That's exactly what they did. There were some close games, but the shape they are in right now, it's really hard to bet against Real Madrid. It's really hard to bet against the talent Real Madrid has against when you compare it to Paris. And I just think Real is too big in a literal sense of a team for Paris basketball right now.
Madrid is tied for let's say the award of the hottest team in the second EuroLeague round. They tie for the best record with Panathinaikos, 11 wins. 11 wins in the second since January. We all saw they beat Paris recently. They're the most experienced EuroLeague team. Experience matters in those games when it's decided in 40 minutes. As you mentioned, they're too big, but they're also fast enough to match Paris style. They can score a lot of points, just as they did in Madrid in the last game, and just too many injuries on Paris side that would make me believe that I think that they still can beat Madrid. They can upset them, but I'm just thinking that at this moment Madrid is too good. Among those 4 teams, Madrid has the best last 10 game streak, 7 wins in 10 games. For instance, Paris, they only got 5 wins, Bayern 5 wins, Red Star only 4. Madrid beat Paris twice this season, so I think that they will win this one as well.
And Madrid just beat Paris. You just mentioned that. Madrid beat Paris team who made 19 threes in that game. And Madrid still managed to actually win that game. So that tells me a lot. And although it breaks my heart actually to predict that Madrid is going to be 7th and not Paris. But it's just... I think the most logical outcome would be seeing Real Madrid clinch the 7th spot because of the form they're having recently. I mean, on top of all the things you said, even bench guys like Andre Feliz is having a bigger role recently. Like, he's playing really great defense against Paris. He had a season high, I think, 15 points and 16 efficiency. So every guy that's giving Madrid something extra off the bench is just, an additional layer to their greatness. And it's still a pretty good team against Paris, who has a lot of injuries, and Modolo is missing. So that's a big, that's a big loss in their backcourt.
Yeah. So it's all clear in Madrid, right? Let's go with the 8th seed that we're predicting. Mm-hmm. And you mentioned, it breaks your heart to think and predict that Paris will lose against Madrid. that's why I also feel bad about Paris, because I think that they will face Zvezda, and I think that Zvezda is not very comfortable opponent for Paris. Their physicality, their size, their strength, their defense. I think that Zvezda will be very aggressive, and let's not forget that Zvezda forced Paris to the second lowest scoring game of the season. They scored 69 in Belgrade, I think, that game. They also won in Paris, and I remember that many of us didn't take that win seriously because we didn't knew what kind of beast, we didn't know what kind of beast this Paris team might become. So I think that's, I mean, even losing those games, I mentioned their record in the last 10 games, Zvezda has only 4 wins, but even the game they lost against Panathinaikos, they looked solid, and they were missing Joel Bolomboy. They have experience, they have depth, they're well coached. So that's why I think that it's a bad matchup for Paris. If they would play Bayern, I would go with Paris. But in this case, I think Zvezda will beat Paris and they will make the playoffs from the 8th seed.
So
but why? First of all,
you're skipping a step here, right? So you're saying
Zvezda is going to win 2 games in a row, and I want to hear, first I think for the other playing matchup on Tuesday we have like Zvezda Bayern. Do we all think that Zvezda are going to win that one?
I don't.
Okay, Donatas thinks Zvezda are upsetting Bayern in Munich. You think?
Despite what I'm wearing, the red-colored jumper, I think actually another team with some red in their logo will advance.
That's red.
Yeah.
Behind you, basically.
Oh yeah. So I think it's Bayern who's gonna advance, and you think?
I think Zvezda.
Okay.
I think Zvezda are going to make it to Friday in the EuroLeague.
So I need to explain myself, I guess, because I'm the only one who doesn't believe Zvezda will win this game. Number one, I think it's the emotional background of this team recently. So they had a chance to make the playoffs straight up because they had some good head-to-heads, and I think they would have at least gone. Okay, they wouldn't have gone into the playoffs, but they would have not played away. So they had a chance, right? And they lost it by this much in this last game against Panathinaikos. I think emotionally to play now away 2 games in a row, I just think is a bit much. And number 2, which is I think a more important reason, they played against Bayern twice this season. Both of the teams won their home games. And Bayern in the most recent one, although Petrushev actually wasn't playing much because of some illness, he played only 5 minutes. But Bayern won that game by 20 points. And this game, Zvezda will have Petrushev back, but they won't have Joel Bolomboy, which they had last game. So I think they're not healthy. They're not. If they were fully healthy, if they were playing at home, I would give it to them. But at the moment, Bayern just has a second best home record in the whole of the EuroLeague. And even though they had a few games now in a row where they lost, I just think they'll bounce back in this one. Just guessing, really, because it's one game.
I think Bayern season ends here on Tuesday. I mean, just because defensively what Zvezda can offer is kind of similar to what Fenerbahce just did to them a couple of days ago. And they were losing quite heavily from the beginning, and they lost by 12 at home. They scored just 77 points. I think Zvezda have the matchups there too, together with their defense. They have a taller guard that they can use. They have offensive firepower from the perimeter. They have an inside presence. And if you can somehow manage to lock Bayern up defensively with, switch all defense or super huge lineups, and that we know Zvezda can offer, I think they have a legit chance to actually play another game on Friday. So that's why I'm choosing Zvezda.
Why you're picking Paris over Zvezda then?
Because it's 2 games away. I know they lost both head-to-head matchups this season, but I think Paris' speed at home and the fact that Zvezda will play a second game, 2 games in a row in a way, I think they can actually, still make the playoffs. I'm talking about Paris. It's not going to be easy. Maybe I'm going, if we're looking at the matchups, if we're looking at the defenses, maybe I'm not choosing the most logical path here, but I think just the home factor and the fact that they have to play 2 away games in a row, and the speed Paris plays, I think they can still win at least one of those 2 games this week.
I'm not sure how this home court advantage, how big it will be for Paris, because for Zvezda, for instance, they're as good playing away as playing at home. Their home and away game record is identical, 9 wins in 17 games, which is the top 4, top 5 away record in the EuroLeague. And I think that they're deep enough, to play twice in 3 days, Tuesday and Friday. So, and again, matchups, physicality and stuff, experience, and all those things made me think that they will beat Paris anyways.
And I guess my prediction of Paris is based on the fact that I think they'll play against Bayern, and I think those 2 teams gonna have a very high scoring game.
And they're gonna end up in hundreds.
Yeah, and it'll be who's better that night. Is it TJ Shorts or Carson Edwards? So I think that night it will be TJ Shorts. We're just guessing, obviously. This game might not even happen. So,
and I think a huge factor is also if Bolomboy is going to play or not. I mean,
he's projected to return mid-April earliest, and now I would say this is mid-April. So either he comes back or he doesn't this game. So and if he does, maybe then I would change my prediction. But from what I'm seeing right now, I'm still sticking to Bayern eliminating them and then losing against Paris for the 8th spot.